We cuttin' loose.
You ain't about your business. You ain't cause we winning.
I cut loose, that's what I do. You should too, but it's on you. I cut loose when the mic's in my hand, man. Got 'em laughing they face off. And case might be permanently off. Sergio with the finish here, boss.
What ain't good for me?
All right, so welcome back. This is Kuttin Loose Podcast, man. We back in the building. Listen, new things coming, man. Y'all finna see some fresh content. We coming crazy. You know, we got the same crew. Well, kind of the same crew. But I know, shout out to everybody that have been DM us like crazy on the Instagram. Hey, when y'all coming back? We back fresh with some fresh content. Today it's gonna be crazy though. I love this guy. I love his brother, but we were talking to his brother. I think you was like the third podcast we did.
Mm-hmm.
He was like the third, right?
It was very early on.
Very early on, and it went crazy. But he was talking about his brother, and we said, man, we got to get your brother on. But before we get to all of that, we're going to introduce our hosts. Y'all know who they are. You know what I'm saying? They've been around. We got a new case. The old case is gone. So we're going to start over here with my brother. Holden Schneider in the building.
Appreciate you, Jeff. Yeah, we've hound out all the issues we had with Case by not having me on camera. So hopefully that fixes all the issues we had previously.
Yeah, that's pretty
I'd like
good.
to see you put me on camera picking my nose.
Yeah, that's pretty good. All right, you already know who the boy is right here. Everybody always talk about him and his hosting skills. We got the one and only, the comedian extraordinaire. He taking the comedy game by storm. The one and only, Marek Chananak.
What's up, everybody? Good to be here. Excited to be back. Let's get it.
Yes, sir. Oh, over here, man, this guy right here, like I said, we had him on the third podcast, but y'all gonna see a lot of him. You know, he want to connect with the Kuttin Loose. He gonna have his own show. That's right. Oh, yeah. Yeah, his own show gonna be on the network, man. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. But this guy definitely he taking the game by storm. He just started like yesterday. You know what I mean? He fresh out of the comedy game, and he already hosting shows. I know why. You know what I'm saying? Because they got some Diddy stuff going on. You know, I'll just play. We joking, man. We joking.
Greasy.
But anyway, this guy, man, he definitely a comedy beast in the game. Matter of fact, he got a couple of projects coming up already. The one and only Carlos Carvajal. Yes, sir.
First of all, I signed a gag order. I can't talk about that Diddy stuff.
Okay. All right. I got you.
Change the subject.
I'm sorry. He had the jacket on every day. He came up here. I know
you can just host pizza shops in Atlanta based on talent?
Nah.
You got to do some stuff.
You got to do some stuff.
This is a put-on culture. You got to put someone on.
I understand, brother. You okay?
You gotta have the
think-
sauce.
Hey, listen.
You can put shows on in hookah clubs in Orlando, Florida based on talent?
Oh, no.
You have to just take some, get some.
We saw how you was sitting down. That booty was hurting. That little butt was...
Hemorrhoids.
Hey, listen, man. We got a legend in the building, though. This is a legend to me, man. His story just took us by storm. I promise you. When we get into it, y'all don't know exactly why. I'm going to let Carlos introduce his brother. This is his oldest brother right here, but he really look younger than Carlos.
Yes.
He really does.
That's another gag order with the devil, Diablo. This is my oldest brother. There's 6 of us all together. This is when I was here last time. Yeah. See, this is why. This is why right here. Case. Okay, where's Case at?
Yeah.
You know when Case sees this, he's gonna leave y'all a Yelp review, right?
Case is the only one still on Yelp, so that makes sense.
It's Case and 3 Karens. Like
Speaking
And 2 of them are burners for his.
You heard about his Instagram account?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, they reach out to me.
We gonna get into that.
People reached out to me. People thought I was Case for a minute. Like,
Oh, man,
Sorry.
come on. God.
People thought I was Case for real. Like, so many people came up to me at Punch. I was like, "Hey, I heard about your Instagram." I was like, "What happened to my Instagram?" And then they showed me the Discord, and it's like, "Oh yeah, Case." And then they're just looking at me like, "I'm not Case."
Right. They thought you were Case, man.
Andre Castro called me. He's another local comedian, right? And he's like, "Hey, Carlos, hey, you think I should buy that car from Case?" I was like, "Bro, Send me the money. I'll get it.
So the dude was selling cars.
Yeah. We trying to
He
sell a
was doing
Honda
everything.
Accord
Oh,
for 12 for
boy.
like 5 G's, man. Only
No,
12.
so he hit me up.
I'm 24.
The fake case hit me up, and he was like, "Hey, look, I don't have my computer with me right now."
Hit me up too.
He's sending the same message to everybody.
Yeah.
I actually was messing with the fake case for about a day and a half, and he was responding. Can I go ahead and read through it really quick? It'll be real quick.
All right.
He hit me up, and it was like, "Hey," and I was like, "How you doing?" And he was like, "Can you do me a favor really quick? Can you help me for?" And I already knew he was hacked to this point, so I was just in BS mode.
Yeah, I was
take care
messing
of
with him. Yeah.
He was like, "Can you do me a favor right now?" And I was like, "Actually, can you help me first? Have you seen my daughter?" He responds, "Sure." "What do you mean, sure? Have you seen her or not? Is she with Sam?" "I have seen her with Sam." "Which Sam? Sam Clyde or Sam Hyde?" "Hello? Why'd you stop responding?" "Hey, I found her. She was just hanging in the shed. What did you need help with?" "Look, man, I got the money. I don't feel right by asking, but it's an emergency. Can you low-key send me money?" And then I responded, "I'm going to be real. This isn't fun anymore, dude. We had a good rapport, but you stopped responding. I'm going to need you to try one more time." And then he blocked me. So
He blocked me too, man. I couldn't even play with him as much. I said, "Hey, man, look, you're not Case, man." I said, "You go to hell and everybody else with you." And I tried to go on his page. He blocked me, bro. I said,
Yeah.
Case said, "Appreciate it, man." I had to do Case like, "Case, listen, I had to take up for you, brother, because you're not on the podcast no more. I had to look out for you. I don't want to see you in the streets. You mad and stuff, you know what I mean?"
We got your back, Case.
We got another case over here, bro. Yeah. Oh, my bad.
Yeah, Case going to prison. Case going.
Hey, he's young. He still got his good boy card.
Case going to jail, man.
We miss you, Case.
You know when I knew he got hacked is when he messaged me, "Yo." I was like,
That's how I know too.
Yeah,
what I'm
that's
saying,
it.
yo.
His thing came to me, he's like, "Yo, what's up, my boy?"
When did you talk like this?
I was like, "Case, you been hanging out with Jeffrey again?"
Case, can you show the fake? Hey, we need what's going on? You good? Man, get back to the pod.
Can't be looking certain ways around here. Yeah, we like, who's coming?
Yeah, I'm like,
We got ops in this parking lot.
Yeah,
You gotta let us know.
oh yeah, you supposed to be introducing your brother.
Yeah, man.
My bad.
So we got a little sidetracked, but that's cool. So we are here for a reason, man. This is a celebratory weekend. Besides everything, obviously, I'm glad to see him. I haven't seen him in a minute, but he's coming off of something. I'm gonna let him get into it, but you know, he's was on certain things, and now he's off those certain things. So we're here to celebrate that freedom. You know, we just had Juneteenth pass by, so you know,
Is that what that was?
yeah.
All the chains.
Holden was like, "Why are all the Jordans on sale over on Cleveland Ave?" So my brother's coming off some stuff, man. So we're excited. This is, again, my older brother, and I'm not going to say this stuff just because he's my brother, but my original form, when I didn't know, you know, when you're a kid growing up, you don't know what certain words mean until you see it for yourself. You know, a lot of us are raised not by our parents, but just the streets, the projects, the pimps, the crack kid. We learn a lot of life lessons through people. And when I first understood what motivation, willpower was, you know, obviously my single mom, but then came my older brother, right? Just seeing him thrive as a teenager growing up, trying to get in the film industry, you know, making beats, doing music, you know, and I'm just like, damn, I kind of want to do some of that. So I kind of got into music behind it. And then stuff happened, you know, and so all that, you know, shaped me and kind of molded me in certain ways. Where I use some of those elements still to this day, and you pass those on to your kids, and you see those certain characteristics. That's a big word. So we're gonna
a little spit come out your mouth.
yeah, man. So we gonna mess with him today, man. We're gonna crack some jokes, but the ultimate plot to today is just celebrating
Yes, sir.
freedom of a real one, someone who put in that work, held it down, always kept it real. So it's my older brother, Sample, man. Y'all make some
Sample.
noise, man.
I appreciate that.
By the way, Sample is like legit because like we moved into a new studio. We not even complete with the studio yet. You know, it was like another week ahead. But Sample said he was in town. We stopped everything to get Sample on this podcast because when I tell y'all this story is like, we just heard Carlos telling the story about his brother and we were blown away. We were like, we gotta have Sample on the podcast. Carlos said, "Hey man, my bro gonna be in town." we said, okay, let's go, let's work. And I ain't know who was gonna show up, but my brothers, they showed up for me. And hey, we here today, man. So I'm ready to hear this story, man. Sample, what's going on, bro?
Man.
Yes, sir.
First and foremost, I want to thank all of you guys that are watching, listening. I want to thank you guys for keeping this thing going, man. You know what I'm saying? Because you guys are like the mediator through two real voices.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? Now, the angle which you guys are using is also a very, very unique and beautiful angle. You know, being able to have comedy and bring fun and you know, enlightenment to situations. It's the true medicine.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So, you know, that's the only word you can use, you know what I'm saying? Because, you know, laughter heals, you know, we all know that, you know what I'm saying? So in a way, you guys are blessings in many ways. So, you know, I think, you know, I always told a story when I came here the last time. I met most of you guys, you know, and I get a chance to hang out with you guys. And I was like, you know, if I ever get a chance to tell that story, you know what I'm saying, I like to do it in a place where it would benefit others in many ways, you know what I'm saying? And not just keep it for myself, you know what I'm saying? Let everyone else get a little something, you know what I'm saying? So that's why I'm here, you know what I'm saying? So I chose today to tell the story, you know what I'm saying? I chose today to like do it with this guy, you know what I'm saying? Because you know, it's interesting because, you know, and I don't want to sound too biblical here.
No, you good.
You know, I'm a believer. You know what I'm saying?
Me too.
I believe in God. I believe in Jesus Christ.
Yeah, don't talk to that guy right there.
No.
Yeah, atheist.
I am more godly than all of you.
I also
you
respect everyone. You know what I'm saying?
That's the devil over there.
Is it?
You see that eyeball on his hat?
This is my buddy's production company.
I don't believe it. That's what they all say. Diddy was talking about he was
Hey
a
man,
believer too.
I don't have a gag order.
All right, my bad, bro. Go ahead, bro.
Listen. But I want you guys to do what you do. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
As I tell the story, you know, I told him, and I was telling my brother here, I was like, listen, I'll give you guys, you know, I'll throw it out there. You know what I'm saying? Alley-oops are there. Have at it, man, because I believe in what you're doing. You know
Yes,
what I'm saying?
sir.
I believe in the fact that you can be serious, but at the same time find the lighter side of things.
That's
you know
right.
what I'm saying?
That's
So
right.
that's very important. You know what I'm saying? And that also gives you an ability, you know what I'm saying, in a world where they want you to be shut up and do things a certain way. You know, those who take these risks are the ones who's gonna stand up. You know what I'm saying? Those are the ones that are gonna remain and be like, yo, you know, this is the focal point. If you go back to Howard Stern, you know what I'm saying?
Yes,
Howard
sir.
Stern was one of the originators of this thing for me, in the sense of telling it like it is, and you know what I'm saying, cursing like it is. I know we ain't gonna do no cursing today, but you know, bringing that edge to radio. So you know what I'm saying, you guys are in a great position.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Now look, we know your story, like to the people that don't know your story.
Okay.
Even though we know your people gonna be watching it too.
Gotcha.
They know everything.
Okay.
So we don't have to be so long about the story, but we just want to know a little background. Okay?
Gotcha.
I don't want to spoil it for the people because
no, for sure,
it's good. I want you to tell them a little
for
background.
sure. I can't go into the specifics of what happened and how I ended up in my situation.
Yeah.
But I will say this, and this will, I think this will close it all up and kind of put it in a sweet spot. You know, in 2002, you know, I was sitting in a cell and I was about to call him and let him know that I had gotten sentenced to a lot of time. You know what I'm saying? So I wasn't sure how I was going to tell them, but I knew I had to tell them. You know what I'm saying? So I remember going to the thing, you know, the phone in those places is kind of, you know, trifling in a sense. You got to go through a lot of drama to get to the phone. So once you get to the phone, you know, now it's the other side of the world that you got to deal with the drama in. So I was able to call them and, you know, I asked them, I was like, look, I told them what it was. They freaked out. And I asked them, I was like, you know, what do you want me to do? You know what I'm saying? Because at that point, I will divulge this. At that point, I had already lost a son in a car accident. You know what I'm saying? So I was in that mentality as a man. Now imagine now, and I think if you guys want to jump in on this, and this is a very important thing that I kind of want to bring up. Imagine back then the emotional aspect of how men were to how they are now. You think there's a balance or there was a counterbalance? Do you guys believe there was a balance, a disbalance?
Oh yeah, men were tougher in 2002.
Yeah, that was when we had lead in the paint. People really didn't talk about their issues.
Right. That
No,
exactly.
Have the space
And if
to-
they did, it was
Exactly.
almost discouraged.
Exactly.
Or people didn't want to hear it, or you were like, oh, that's the emotional friend.
Right.
It was exclusionary.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Perfect. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, men were more inside. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
As now it's a more like, yo, I feel this way. This is what it is, and boom, communication. I feel is much more clear now. You know what I'm saying? In a sense, I get it, but back then it was more enclosed. So situations escalated faster, and things happen, whatever the case may be. But anyways, fast forward to accepting what they told me and saying, hey, he said fight, saying come back to your family. I was like, okay, fool, let's do it. You know what I'm saying? So I faced my decision and I went in, you know what I'm saying? And I fought. Let's just say it was one of those things where, they used to call it gladiator school. They used to call it, you can name it anything you wanted to call it. But the fact is that the pressure is intensified by 1,000. You know what I'm saying? In everything you do. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So you add that to the situation of what with the son and all that stuff, and now it's like, okay, I had to make a decision. I was like, as a man, you know what I'm saying, what do I do? I have to go back to my family. You know what I'm saying? Right. I missed this whole situation. Mm-hmm. So this is where it gets tricky because in 2002, there was no rap allowed in prisons. So
really,
yes.
What was the enforcement policy on that? Like, what quantified rap?
Exactly. It had to be on pop music. So it had,
really?
it had to be like on.
Really, that's so interesting.
Yes. It had to be like on.
I kind of like understand why though.
Yeah,
but we'll get to that.
So,
is that where trap drums came from?
But they always found a way around it. You know what I'm saying? Because music has that ability. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So that's when the table, with the pen.
Yeah.
The table pen beats came on. We were allowed to kind of circle and create a cipher in a sense. You know what I'm saying? That was tolerable. They respected that. They were like, okay, they together. They're tribe-ish. You know what I'm saying? Let them get there.
Now hold on, let me get this right.
Yes,
so
go ahead.
You guys get around and start rapping.
Yeah.
They'll just come around and shut everything down.
Yes.
What?
Yes.
Why now was that in?
But in that same token, which is hilarious. In that same token, and again, I don't want to sound biased. I don't want to sound racist. I'm just telling it how it is. Okay, so this is how it was, and I'm looking right at you because, when I tell you the things I'm gonna tell you, I want you to understand that this happened like I'm telling it. Mm-hmm. So there's no misunderstanding between me and you.
Was there any barbershop quartets?
Yes, there was.
I wonder what the policy was on that. Because they're known for slinging razors, so I don't know.
Hey, Carlos, if you ever go to jail, you could be the baritone.
Now for the dogs.
Where's my bitch? Where's my bitch? Oh, where's my stitch? Where's my stitch?
Listen, for those who I know some people gonna be tuning in. They're gonna fast forward and everything. That don't know what this man is talking about. He's talking about prison.
Yeah. And maximum, by the way, the top of the game. So,
ooh-wee.
So what was if they caught you rapping? What was the punishment or?
Cool. So
did you have to battle rap the warden?
Nah. So if great question. So the first time they catch you, they give you a bag, and then you just go out in the field and pick up all the cigarette butts and all the stuff that
what?
Just pick up trash.
Yeah.
So if your bars are trash, you got to go clean up trash.
Yeah.
But then what if you spitting some bars, bro? Like what if it's like
you got to clean the
They
cell
send
bars?
you to the hot box.
You got to go clean the cell bars.
So I mean, was the punishment to the point where we just can't? We not even gonna try?
Yes.
It sounds like they were just shutting down the community of it. It was like, hey, if you're rapping, you're by yourself now.
Yes.
Oh.
And it worked. It worked. It worked. It mentally, what I'm saying, frustrated us enough to be like, what? Because the hanging of a penalty that would cause you more time would be greater than the love for your art in a sense.
Does
that make sense?
Yeah.
Wow.
The fear of consequence
Yes.
kept you from pursuing like that passion. right?
Exactly.
It
Wow.
yeah.
Exactly.
Wow.
But the problem was that I didn't fall under that.
Wow.
That was my problem, and I always persisted. I had this undying thing inside me that was like, you will do it no matter what.
Yeah.
Mm.
You know what I mean? No matter where you are, you will do it, and you will do it to the level that you know you can do it. So I you know, and when and it always played in my mind when he would say, you know, get home. I was like, okay, this is by the means that I would do it. You know, I would use what God gave me, the talent, and I would exercise that to be productive and create a path back to my life.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so
That's beautiful.
yeah. So long story short, there was a white not racist. There was a white racist, very racist man. He was the warden.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, he was the
That's
warden.
I'm not racist.
That's
He
when
was
Holden
very-
used to be a warden.
Him and Case.
This was around 2005. So imagine in around this time.
The heyday of racism.
Yeah.
Damn, that's like Get Rich or Die Trying time too, boy.
Yeah.
That's prime
50
2000.
got
boy.
shot.
Can you imagine still in this time and this guy would walk like, and he's be in the front and he had his lankies behind him and they all follow him and his thing was that if you made eye contact with him, you would go to jail, in prison.
What?
Yes.
But you're already in prison.
Exactly. So there is a
In
jail
a
in
holding
prison.
cell.
The holding cell that leads to a actual confinement, and then confinement is
Wow.
confinement is then, you know, your own personal space, and you know, your
So you couldn't look at this guy. He didn't want nobody making eye contact.
no contact, no eye
That's
contact.
crazy.
No
That messed
eye
me up because I compliment dudes' eyes all the time.
Yeah.
Continue.
Yeah.
No eye contact.
Right.
So, I think God has a way of doing things sometimes, and you know, it has a way of bending and molding things,
Mm-hmm.
and you almost say to yourself, you know, how is this happening?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
how you question it. You're like, wait, is that a glitch or something? You
Mhm.
know, like, because again, there was no rap allowed in that time, and it was still, you know, and it was killing me. You know what I'm saying? So what I did is I managed to get a little box, a beat box, snuck into the system, and my grandma dropped it off. You know what I'm saying? And you know,
Shout out, Grandma.
yeah, for real. And I was able to get it inside the prison as one of their own boxes, which they never had, but we falsified the whole thing. I'm off probation, so I'm good. You know, I can say all this
Let's
stuff.
go.
Yeah.
Statute of limitations is up on
it's
Grandma.
over,
Allegedly.
Yeah.
So, and so I continued to create my art in there quietly, you know, and then the problem was that at this point I started feeling like, you know, it's okay, there's no more. This is it. You know, you're going to have to do this time, forget about music, give this box up, just walk away. You know what I'm saying? What are you doing? You know, let's focus on, you know,
Right.
just self-explode is what your mind is telling you. So instead of doing that, I remember I was laying down on the floor and he walks by and he comes with his lankies and his whole trout. And I remember he stops and he looks down at me. And as a human being, my reaction is to look back at him. Wasn't a disrespectful act. It was just a human act.
Acknowledging
Yes.
that he is looking at you. I mean, you feel when someone's looking at you and
Yes,
he's in your face
and
looking
this
at you.
and this fucking guy was huge. There's no way you can miss him. You know what I'm saying? Like he was in your spot. You know, and he just smelled like danger. You know, he just smelled terrible. He just smelled like one of those dudes whose life is just like, you know, like this is what I love, creating anarchy and chaos and pain. You know.
Like the villain.
Yes,
Yeah.
he loved it. He loved
Yeah.
that attention, you know? And so when I looked at him, my reaction was like, can I help you? His reaction is, why are you looking at me? Those were his words. At this point, lost the son, lost my freedom, didn't give a f***. You know what I'm saying? I looked at him and I said, I'm doing my music. Now I spoke to him. And his reaction was like it was almost like a computer going wrong. Things just went wrong on him. You know what I'm saying? It was like he didn't know.
He wasn't expecting an honest answer.
He didn't know how to react. It was the oddest thing, you know? And that's why I say I think God sometimes can get in and just jumble things, you know? And then his Lankies noticed this. Everyone was like, what the f*** did we do? I'm sorry. Right?
Yeah.
So he ordered them to lock me up, and they did. They grabbed me, took my box, slammed everything, turned me around, and they started walking me towards the box. And the thing is that the weirdest thing is that when that happened, I was walking, and there was and this is where things get tricky. He was the colonel, so he was the big dog, but there was one above him, and it was the warden, and he was black, African American. You know what I mean? So when he came by, he stopped and he's like, "What's your name?" And I told him my name, and he was like, "I came looking for you."
We cutting